When I started, there were 44 brewing companies left in America, and that was the largest to the smallest. Today we've got more than 7,000. We're the hotbed of brewing innovation around the globe.
Welcome to Stout Conversations, where every week we sit down with creative thinkers in the craft beer industry and beyond. This week, our travels landed us in Denver for the Great American Beer Festival for great beer and great stories. With more than 40 years in the brewing industry, Ken Grossman of Sierra Nevada Brewing Company has definitely created a legacy. We were honored to have a moment to chat about his original brewing system and business plan, industry trends, Resilience IPA, and of course, love of great craft beer and the community that surrounds it.
Of course, if you don't mind.
Hi, April.
Cheers. So, Ken, you're here at Great American Beer Festival with your original, kind of janky equipment. Can I say that and not hurt your feelings?
You could say that and not hurt my feelings. But again, if you imagine back 40-some years ago, there was no brewers to follow. I mean, Fritz had opened or had purchased Anchor. Right. New Albion had opened, but everybody of that era was pretty much this level of technology, dairy tanks and old scrap equipment.
You just kind of put together whatever you could find and brewed on it, right?
You had to. I mean, there was no internet. You couldn't do research. There was no Asian manufacturer of brewing equipment. There was no industry in the U.S. making small brewing equipment.
So what was your master plan coming out 40 years ago going, okay, 40 years from now, we're going to be huge. We're going to take over the craft beer world and just shake everything up?
So I wrote a business plan, which I still have, and it called for us brewing 2,500 barrels of beer. And if we could possibly grow to 3,500, that was our expansion target, a year. So 10 barrel batches. With this brewing equipment and the fermenters I had, I could brew 12 brews a month. That was it, so 1,200 barrels, 120 barrels a month, so 1,500 barrels a year to start. And then I added a couple more dairy tanks, which got us up to the 2,500, and eventually grew from there.
Just a little bit. How high are you now in barrelage per year?
A bit over 1 million.
Wow, 1 million barrels. And was Pale Ale the first beer that you brewed?
Actually, I brewed 5 barrels of stout. November 15, 1980 was the inaugural brew, and then 2 days later started brewing Pale Ale.
So Pale Ale's been there from the get-go.
Yep, yeah, it was our go-to brand for. We brewed 5 barrels of stout because we figured we weren't going to sell it, and it would hide some of our sins when we first started brewing it. We didn't know, we'd never boiled it or anything. I mean, we really were pioneering the equipment.
So what do you think of the brew scene today? You guys helped shape this thing, but what do you think of this creature that's going on now where there's non-alcoholic beers, seltzers, the hard seltzers, the ciders, everything, and all the crazy craft beers with Twinkies and donuts?
Yeah. I never envisioned it going that way. I mean, when I started, there were 44 brewing companies left in America, and that was the largest to the smallest. Today we've got more than 7,000. So the amount of variety back in 1980 was pretty much one style of beer. Everybody brewed light lager. And there were, a couple of breweries that brewed something a little bit interesting, but, a very homogeneous marketplace and product. Today, obviously we're the hotbed of brewing innovation around the globe, and, it's pretty exciting, but it's also, a little terrifying that it's gone so far. You mentioned, non-alcoholic stuff. A lot of that I don't view as beer, even though it's taxed and sold to the similar consumer, but it's not the traditional malt hops, yeast, and if you're a Belgium fanatic, fruit and other things like that, and sours. But so it's gone even further, sort of in interesting directions.
All right, well, before I let you go, I don't want to let you go without talking about resilience.
Okay.
Because that was something that even as big as Sierra Nevada has gotten over 1 million barrels a year now. I mean, that really makes you feel like that small hometown brewery. But how does it feel for you to be able to bring? Really, it's you guys brought the brew community together across the United States to help with the forest fires in California.
Yeah, I mean, Vinny and Natalie at Russian River had a tragedy the year before, so they sort of kicked off, their Sonoma Pride project, and we participated in that. And then when we had our disaster in our community, we reached out to them and reached out to the brewing community, and we got tremendous support. It's very humbling to have that many brewers want to participate, nearly 1,500. So.
Were you surprised how many jumped in so quickly?
Yes, I was hoping for 200. Yeah.
Exceeded that, man.
Yep, and within a few days we had over 500, and then it just grew from there.
So we ask everybody, Stout Life, that's our logo, is like we live a stout life. So without knowing the context behind that, how would you define your stout life?
Well, trying to balance my life. So I've been in the brewing industry for more than 40 years. It's all I've known. I owned a homebrew shop in the mid 70s, so I've really been into beer and brewing for a very, very long time. Just trying to figure out how to leave a great legacy and enjoy my life as I go forward in life.
I think you've built a legacy. Cheers.
Thank you.
We have new conversations every week. Be sure to subscribe to Living a Stout Life so you don't miss out. Ken mentioned leaving a legacy and enjoying life. What legacy or wisdom would you like to leave behind? Let us know in the comments below or by following the link in the description.